Good morning, hello, and happy Tuesday. Hello, Diablo D3. How are you doing today? Hand over the Cato and nobody gets hurt. Okay, okay. If you really want, here you go. Here is Cato. Sylvia's here. Nobody has to get hurt. And we could even do pets. All right, there we go. Crisis averted, right? Oh, I need to load up the stream over here because I can't trust Restream Bot, although it did send those messages. That's good. All right, so let's see what we want to do. Oh, right. We finished writing the article, or at least the base article for multiple routers yesterday. And I need to go through it again today, do a quick reread, and then also fix any spelling errors in it. So let's, I guess, do I want to do that? Let's, which one first? Probably a reread. No, probably spelling first. Well, I want you to remember Axum. All the apps. It wants me to put the API in all caps. I guess we could do that. Well, okay. Do I allow lowercase Axum? I could, like, just for this one, yeah. And that one. Sure, this is a programming stuff. I'm allowing you. Ooh, okay. Could actually fix you from that. And we can still see what's happening for each of these quote routes. What? It doesn't like 5? Oh, do I have to have 0, 5? Oh, 2 numbers. Okay. Okay, not too bad. All right, let's reread through this really quickly, and then we can switch to video time. Multiple routers in Axum. It can be helpful to split up our application into different sections, each with their own router. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to separate out sections of your app with their own routers, combine routers with the nest method, combine routers with the merge method. Describe the difference between nesting and merging. Content. Separating out routes. Axum apps can feel very simple and easy to work with until you get a lot of route handlers, and therefore routes to work with. This can make the create router function very long and unwieldy to read through. Luckily, we can fix this by defining clusters of routes outside of the main router file and then bring them in together. Albert, hello. How are you doing today? We have 2 choices for how to organize these groups of routes: creating a new directory or create a new crate. We actually don't do that. Let's just not have that section at all. Subdirectory of routes. Let's say we have a quote API. This will take in interesting quotes that we've heard and store them away so we can look at them later. After creating the router and the route handlers, our folder structure might look like this. Okay, then we have all of that. And we actually like ran it with this, so we know it works. And our router file is also just as messy. Okay. This is only adding in the basic routes for quotes. If we have any other things we want to add, we're going to have a very busy and hard to read router. Let's work on the file structure first and break the quote files into their own directory. So we just move them all into there. Since all the quote routes are now contained in a quotes directory, we can remove the quote identifier that we had given them. We can keep the route handler files the same though and use pub use statements to export them for use in the router. Albert, you're fine. You have to choose between doing the ls command, creating a duck hunt like game, and a few other things. Is this like a school assignment? Oh, I think I know which one I would do. I'm curious about which one you're going to choose. Here's the source routes quotes mod rs file so far. Okay, so we get that. The router file only needs minor changes to the mods and use statements, but already looks much cleaner. Okay. Oh, you have to do all of them? That doesn't sound like you have to choose then. Or like, I guess you have to do all of them, but you're choosing which one to do first. That's what it is. Okay, I got it. I'm still curious which one you're going to choose first. Cat Kirby, hello. How are you doing today? Multiple routers. Well, this is a good start. There is more that we can do. Notice that all of our routes begin with /quotes. We can further clean up our code by creating a second router for all the quotes and then combining them in the create router function. Let's update the quotes mod rs file to create a router and return it. Notice that we've removed the quotes part of the paths for the route since this router is only for quotes. We can use the nest method to nest a router with a single prefixed path. We'll do this in the main router file. Okay, so source routes mod rs, okay. There's our nest. If we didn't want to define the path /quotes here, we could use merge method, which acts very similarly to the nest method, but doesn't require that we give it a path prefix. Now our main router looks very clean. It only has a single route for all the quotes, and we can still see what is happening for each of these quote routes in their own route file. We can inline nest the 3 quote routes that need an ID path parameter to clean them up. And now we have a clean architecture and routers that make it easy to add new features without sacrificing readability. When would we want to use merge? The nest method is really nice for bringing in a router that defines routes for groups of related routes. We might have a bunch of unrelated routes that we don't know where to put, so we just throw them in a miscellaneous directory and let them define their own paths. In this case, merge is the method to go with. Let's imagine that we've decided to create some utility API routes that our front ends can call that don't directly have anything to do with quotes. We might store these in a miscellaneous directory. When using merge, we don't provide a path prefix in the main router. This allows us to have different paths in a miscellaneous create router function. Caveats. When merging in routers using nest or merge, we need to make sure that we have the same kind of state. If our state is global to all the route handlers. Elias, hello. How are you doing today? Conclusion. Keeping all of our routes in a single directory and in one create router function can make it difficult to find routes and see what is happening. We can use nest to bring in routers of the same domain with a shared path prefix. If we have a group of routes that don't share the same domain, we can choose to use the merge method instead. Either way, if we have a state, they all must share the same state type. Then like let's see, read the code. Oh, I just realized that I created in Discord, I created the message and I never actually sent it for like that I'm live. So oops. I just like wrote it. That's fun. So sorry about that, everybody who's not seen, because you didn't see that. All right. Okay, so here we have, I don't have a good place to put the code yet. So can see the code for this this lesson on GitHub. I don't know, maybe I just want to do like the actual code. So GitHub at. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we're ready to start recording now. I want to take this multiple routers. We're going to stop the server. And what do I want to do with it? I want to go back to when we first started, or I guess like we just clean it up. So let's take a branch. So what I did last time is I just sort of did to here, and I don't know. I kind of like the idea after doing that of like keeping two branches, like one for like what we did in the video and one for what we did in the lesson. So I'm gonna do a get switch. We're just gonna call it video. And now we just delete stuff. Okay, so .env example. That's fine. Sylvie, I have a heater over here if you want to sit next to a heater. He's all bundled up like he's cold, but he wants to be up there because that's like the I have one of those like scratch pads that like people usually attach to a wall. I just put it on a desk because he loves laying on it. Okay, so we have .env example. Oh, LT doesn't show me the hidden files. Okay, that's fine though. Getting or cargo lock, cargo toml, library main, routes. Okay, so I want to remove the miscellaneous. Oh, do I want to remove miscellaneous, or do I want to put... Do we want to start with all of the routes in there? I think we want to start with all the routes in there. So actually, what I probably want to do... Okay, so one... You know what? CD into miscellaneous. Okay, 1, 2, 3. move there. The fuzzy creature sleeps. Yes, yes, indeed. Sort of. I don't actually know if his eyes are open. Sometimes, like he'll just get into this position and just like stare out. Okay, so move 1, 2, 3. So let's put that. Ooh, do I want to also rename this to like miscellaneous too? That would like add to the how bad it is. Okay. Then we can remove the miscellaneous folder because we'll be dealing with that later. Archification. Hello. How are you doing today? Here we are once again. Last time I was here, I think it was before you moved. You were in Ohio. Now you're in Florida. Well, welcome, I guess, to your new house or home. How are you liking Florida? I've never been there. I've heard that there's a lot of really good tropical fruits there, which living in a place, I've never lived in a place that has like tropical fruits. I think like the closest to like just good fruits would be California, but they just have like normal fruits, if that makes sense. And they import everything else. Okay, so we have that, and then quotes. We're gonna do the same thing with quotes. Yeah, it was a long drive. Drove it yourself, about 16 hours. The air quality here is pretty good. More used to being in the South too because you grew up in Louisiana. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, also, that's always nice to have like really good air quality. And that's a long drive. I can't, I usually try to like break up my drives. 16 hours is, I guess that's like a double shift, right? It's like I'll take wake up early, drive like 8 hours, like take an hour break or so, and then drive another 8 hours. That's a lot of sitting. But glad you made it safe and sound. You're thinking about maybe using Axum for something. I'd like to write something in Rust that can look in any folder adjacent to it and host any HTML files it finds on a route with the same name as the folder it's in. Maybe have a config file for a few things too. Interesting. So that would be like sort of like the different thing, right? Because there are some projects out there that will host HTML files in the same folder that it's in. I don't see why you couldn't do that. There's like a static hosting that you could definitely do with like a middleware for Tower, and you can just throw that in there. All you have to do is tell it where to look, and it will go and just sort of like serve that up. So you can basically have dynamic routes that way. Look at that lovely route file. Okay, we go into its mods, and then you're just gonna be super unhappy. All right, we have to do these one at a time. Okay, so we have great quote. Oh, and then you're not, we don't have the nest stuff. Okay, so. Did a small experiment with HTMX recently too. Made a to-do list to help keep chores organized between herself and a friend I moved in with. It works pretty well. Nice. It's always nice to like create something that we use too. Like not just like a toy app that just, oh look, I use this, I created like a to-do list for, that I'm never gonna use. But like actually doing one that you actually use, that's good. That kind of stuff I think works really well on a resume. Okay, so that was the two ones, and then I want the IDs in this one. So let's see, get one. Okay, so create, get all, and then we have ID, not that, that. So let's see, this still get, this will be get one. The real Enrico, hello. How are you doing today? Is there any difference between in these two styles, or is it just preference in how one builds routes and handlers? Let's take a look. Oh, it's Jeremy Chone, the French guy, versus my own style. And by differences, are you talking like what's the like you're asking about okay. Dealing with routes. Okay, so you do let routes all, route new, merge. Okay, so route hello, merge, web routes, login routes. So you have router. Yes, like I have this like create routes here, and then I do stuff in it. And then I router new and return that. Oh yeah, this is from the course, isn't it? The YouTube course. Yeah, and then this one is like merging and nesting stuff. So there's the merging and nesting stuff makes it really easy to see where things are going, and that's actually the lesson we're working on today. So perfectly relevant. So you can imagine that I could take everything that's about like the mirror stuff. I can take all of those things and like put them into a single, I guess like in these, this would be merges. I'd probably merge because they have their own unique paths. So that's probably what how I would change it now. So mine would end up looking like a little bit closer to this. I don't think I taught that in the course though, like in the Axum YouTube course. Weird, since your style of the to-do seems more understandable to me. Interesting. I wonder if the merged is gonna, I wonder if I can make that more understandable. So because I bet I can. It let's see, it seems more obfuscated. It's definitely abstract. Well, is it even abstract in a way? It is moving. It's basically like picking up a bunch of stuff and saying like, go over there to look at what's going on. But I do like to break out the merge and nest by what is it called? By what they do, by context, by what they do. So like, for example, all of these routes that we would do, they're gonna get a nest, just like a single nest in together. Encapsulating, that's a good word for that. Yeah, thank you, Emil. Also, how are you doing? Art went in. Hello, how are you doing today? So yeah, like basically these get replaced by a nest because they're all sort of like similar in like one thing, and I put them into a same folder, and that might be another difference. Like this one is, okay, so we have routes hello, and then do we see where routes hello comes from? Or is that sort of like, yeah, that's defined somewhere else. It's like, okay, we just have somewhere else that define routes hello, whatever that means. And then we have web log routes login routes, and like API, routes APIs. So like, yeah, that's not exactly the way I would do it. Like I think my nesting is like subtly different, but like still bringing everything into a centralized router. The course is coming along slowly but steadily. We took a month. Well, you saw. I think you're in it. The other course, but that's sort of part of this course too. I think Axum still also separates extensions with nests. We should double check that. Well, no, actually, no, we know it works because, for example, oh, he doesn't have it in here, but we do the HTTP layer. So we have like the dot layer HTTP, like the tower HTTP logger thingy. So we do that here, and even the stuff inside the nests got that. Like was logged out successfully. And not just like the top level for it, like each individual one. Oh, you're saying in reverse though. Oh, a layer in nest. Yes. Yeah, I could then take this. Oh, I can't like click and drag. I could do something like, I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. Router APIs on its own could implement a middleware, or I can put that here. And then, sorry, not nest. I wanted layer. So I could now have this middleware applies just to this group of routes. But like, to be honest, you could do that for in here. Like you could say, okay, this route mirror body is string, and throw that in there too. So that way, like this one middleware only applies to this one route handler, and it won't apply to anywhere else. And so basically, like it's like as oniony as you want. Like whichever layer you want to apply to, you can. Which is that why they call it layer? I never really thought about why they called it layer. That might explain why it is that one. So it's like an ogre. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's an ogre. It's a it's a Shrek. I don't know if I feel like we're moving away from the helpful analogies. But if they're fun analogies, we'll just keep them in. I think that okay, so the French guy is quite brilliant. Wait, what was his name again? It was Jay Chones, right? Jeremy Chones. Am I pronouncing that correctly, or is it vastly different pronunciation? So I think Jeremy is quite brilliant, but following this stuff without diagrams and scribbles and say Excel draw makes understanding stuff quite difficult for somebody that never did web stuff. That's something I've noticed a lot, is that there's a lot of people. Well, okay, so I've noticed there's like two of you. How do you say it? Like, what is it? It's I have two. What is it called? Like in design, where you have like the character. It's not types of people. It's you create personalities, or you create archetypes. Maybe it might be archetypes. I could swear that there was something different. It was I think archetypes is the closest we've come to so far today. There's personifications, maybe. There's an idea in like business and in design where you basically create personalities. Ooh, personas. That's it. Personas. No, I'm not referring to how people learn. I'm referring to how to define your audience. So like if you're a business, like for example, I'm doing this as a business, right? So I could define, I've actually created personas referencing who I think you all fit into, and then like some of my courses and other things that I design try to aim towards as many of those as possible, but then I don't worry about personas outside of that group. Like I don't care right now about people who are like have never coded before. In the future, once I have the like ability to, I'm going to add that in as a persona, and then I'll make a course for them. But until then, like I just don't have the capacity yet to like actually build that course or run it. The big problem with middleware, you cannot automatically merge all possible variants of error types from few middleware for the client to handle the error. You have to create your own. That's what I've noticed. You have to create your own custom error, and as soon as possible, switch to that. Like actually just return that. So like you're basically earlier on in the system, converting whatever errors are coming from Rust or something else to your own error. And you could do this error. I think we did this error in the course, the lesson for errors, but it's like not really. You can also get away without this error in Axum because you don't really need it to be a true error, although it is probably a good. We did it because it's a good practice. But okay, anyways, two personalities that I've noticed. One, for Axum backend, like for web dev courses. One, you are a web developer right now. You have done like a year or so, or like, you know, working, you've done web dev, you know web dev, you're confident with web dev, you want to learn Rust. And so you're now learning Rust in a familiar domain, web dev. So everything that I talk about, like how cores works, you know, I just sort of imagine rolling your eyes and go like, of course you have to teach that. But you're more interested in like, just how does Rust work with this? And the other persona that I have is you're familiar with Rust, but have no idea about web dev. Like you've never done that before. And so it's like how to do a map in Rust. And it's like, oh, I know how to do with iterators and all that stuff. Tell me how to do this stuff in Axum. And it's like, wait, what's this about like headers and all that stuff? That's weird. That's sort of like my internal thoughts. All right. Did this help at all? Let's see, who gave this to me? The real Enrico. Does this help at all? Those are simple examples, but give us some napkin drawings, anything. Every time you add a new layer, you must add all variants to expected error for the client. Same with removing it. And that's why I recommend creating an error struct and then dealing with that. And I can show you, I have this, so this is the final code in the, uh-oh. What? Uh-oh. Something, oh, Helix just died. Okay. I can't do anything. Helix is frozen. Oh, that's not great. I wonder if it's going to come back or if I need to quit. I can force close. I can force close this. Close. What? Why is that? Ooh. Ooh. It literally died at the exact same place as I was scrolling up again. That's not cool. Okay, let's bat it. What do you mean there's no, okay. Oh, because I'm not in the right directory, that's why. Let's bat it. So we're going to go to done, Axum handling errors. All right, so then okay, so here's the full code for here's what I have for the struct for the error. And in a way, chat hacked me. Yeah, chat hacked me just by asking for this thing. I don't know how that works. You're more of a visual learner, understanding visually what cog connects to what speeds up the learning, i.e. a simple schematic, how layers affect what's above them. Oh yeah, that'd probably be good. I don't think I did that in my course. I probably should. Or rather, I haven't set up a whiteboard that I like yet. Like I have a whiteboard next to me, but I'm not very good at like doing that. Lunatic, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so anyways, here's what I do with mine. I create this API error, and so far of all the different errors that I've like created in Axum, this is my favorite way so far. So like if I come up with another one, then we'll have to create another article and change it around. So user facing message string, the string is losing info. Absolutely, it absolutely must lose info, because the user facing message cannot be the server error, because that could expose problems. You don't want that. So what I do with this is let's see, where is it? I have the user facing message and the string, and so I do new oh, where was it? It was, I have like a log. The log is just like something silly that I threw in there because I don't know where else to put in there. I might actually, like, this like could also be stored in here and just like keep the original error too, and that could work. But like, so I use log to sort of just print out the log at the time that I have it, so that way I just like get that printed out so I can see it, and I log it with tracing. And then the rest of it is just making sure I can't accidentally send like any of the actual error to the client. User facing message string, yeah, you can use auth to check if user can or cannot see error info. Well, I guess like the problem is, are any of your authenticated users like the creators of the app? Because like this type of error info like are not the same type of errors that you really want to display. You always want to change it around. You always want to have like something more sanitized for your users. And unless only if only the programmer of the API is the user of it. But oftentimes it's like one programmer or a small group of people or everything else. Yeah, but like if you're admin dev, but like I don't want to like store in and I say like, okay, your role is admin dev. That doesn't make any sense to me. It would make more sense to like use tracing to like then log this out and attach it to a session or some other data that we can add in here. And then that way we can go and look at that again. Constrictor, hello. How are you doing today? Yeah, if you're admin dev, you should go look at the logs. Yeah, and I wouldn't want the logs to be in the app itself. I guess like my thoughts are that a majority of users of this app are not devs of the thing, if that makes any sense. And with tracing, we could have the logs, we could have this send out to, you don't really like this logs thing? Oh, to like choose if you want to log it or not, if you want to log the error or not. Lunatic, you were informed today that we need to build a middleware from scratch to replace legacy Java Hibernate with over 200,000, no, 200, not 200,000 APIs within 6 weeks. Oh, that's a project. Yeah. I think, yeah, good luck. I assume that your manager is not doing a good job of fighting back at that. That's a management like problem right there. And like a good manager would be setting expectations, like proper expectations, and fighting back on that kind of stuff if they can. At the very least, shielding the team, especially from repercussions, if that doesn't happen. And I hope that their answer is not going to be, oh, just work more hours to get it done in time, because that's not an answer. That's not a a way to do things. Usually tech support does not have service logs info, only devs, and it's annoying. Yes, that that's more of a policy of the company thing. Oh no, I'm sorry about that, lunatic. Well, good luck with that. I hope you're able to survive that week. I always call those type of things, especially at 70 plus hours a week, I always call those death marches, which it's called a death march because by the end of it, as a manager, you expect the team members who are doing that to quit and or find new jobs. Like that's usually like the mental, like the mentality of me as a manager is like, that's the death of the team, or at least it's a potential death of the team. You have to be careful because every time you like ask for overtime, is this the last time this person's going to work here? I don't know. It's a question. So hopefully you're okay by the end. And if you need to find a new job by the end, hopefully you're able to do that too. Yeah, so the one of the big sort of like things, and this is actually really interesting. So in like SOC 2, I don't know about ISO 9001. I haven't looked into that. I would guess so, but in SOC 2, which is mostly about security, it's recommended, it's actually required that you have a centralized logging server. So instead of going in and looking at the logs here in this app, what you'd want to do is have tracing set up to send the logs to another server. So let's imagine that you use, we looked at a couple different ones. I forget the names of them though. But okay, so they basically just send them over to the server, and then you can have tech support access that central login server. Maybe they have to access like that with a role, like you could do roles on that to say like, okay, you can like here's the queries you can do, here's the everything else that you can see, and like they can work with that. Because oftentimes if there's a problem, it may not even be with this system, it could be with a system that this system uses. And you need to be able to see all of the logs to really properly understand what's going on. Typically, tech support means something like, please wait, we already know the problem, means actually you must find out what the problem. Sleepy in 3 a.m. after your angry boss calls you. Yeah, I've actually been there. I worked, let's see. When I was a sysadmin, I was on the, we did on call. Like every 6 weeks, it was my week for on call. Yeah, and we had like a level 1 team, which we called the control room, and they were 24/7 and taking phone calls from users and like other problems, and they were monitoring services, and they'd page and call us if there was a problem, and then that was sort of like the escalation to our side if something happened. That idea reminds me, I wrote something in Rust that watches a folder, automatically moves any new file there to your server over SSH. Could probably use something like that for blogs. Might be a bit more secure than doing something like a file share too. One of the ideas of tracing, so tracing subscriber, is that you can, so the idea is like you subscribe to any logs that are sent in them. and then you can do something with it, like whatever you want with it. They should have, I think somewhere in here they talk about how you can actually, you can like then even send them off to another. You can choose to like log them out to the disk. You can choose to just display them to standard out. You can also choose to like send them someplace, like in an HTTP request, which usually that's what you do for like a centralized log server, is have a log server that it hits. Let's see, but I don't remember where I found that. It's somewhere. Maybe there's like a book, like a tracing book that has it. Or it might be that I'm just not reading it right now, and I'm just passing over it over and over and over again, which also is very possible. Oh, let's see. Tracing open telemetry. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so this crate provides a layer that connects spans from multiple systems into a trace and emits them to open telemetry. Compatible distributed tracing systems for processing and visualization. Okay, so distributed makes like sounds proper. So connect with the configured one and then send that out. So this would be the centralized server then you'd use. So yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's how that works without really reading into it too far, but I'm guessing that that's exactly what that is. Subscribe makes sense. Could have your program read a config file on start and then watch every path the config file says to watch for changes. And that's generally what you want to do, right? Because you want to be able to change log levels easily. Like, let's say you have like, you don't want to spam all the logs. So you don't like send out all the logs, but then there's a bug. And to Kukma's point, level 1 support is like, I have no clue what's going on, and yeah, we're totally aware of the problem, let's go take a look. You call up the engineer, and the engineer's like, well, we don't know what's going on here, let's increase the log level and try it again. And then you can like both look at the centralized log server as new stuff comes in. It's like that's like another option or choice. If you really want to get fancy, you can create a dashboard that support can use that sets the log level at like during runtime. So you can say like, okay, now start logging a lot more stuff. And generally speaking, you don't want to log too like any more than you really need to, because it's really expensive to like unless you've rolled your own logging server, it gets expensive really fast. Like the more data you have, like the free tier will only keep it for like you only keep like a gigabyte worth of logs, and then maybe over 2 weeks. But like if you have that much, it fills up fast. Constrictor, hello. How are you doing today? Is the new Axum stable now? I held off on using it for a project because it was in between versions, and you went with Actix instead. So Actix, so there's from what I can tell, there's only one thing that's keeping it from a 1.0 like really truly stable release, and that is the release of Tower. Like whenever Tower gets updated, Axum is going to update. So it's basically stable until Tower updates, and then it's going to do a big update themselves. So that's something to keep in mind. So basically it's mostly stable. Oh, is it Hyper? It might be Hyper instead of Tower. It's one of those two, like Hyper or Tower or both. One of those two things. But it's not very many libraries that they're relying on right now. I actually got really excited. I got excited during the last major vulnerability that was discovered in HTTPS, because I thought that was going to force Hyper or Tower to update, but they didn't. They were not vulnerable, so they did have to update. Are there well-maintained WebSocketing libraries? There have been so many issues with these. The only one I've ever used is Tungsten, and it was fine at the time. But I've not looked at it in like a few years, so I'm sure there's more of them now. By the way, a request to send your service logs to a log server can also fail. Yes, it can. Absolutely. Which in that case, like usually that's also why like something like tracing is nice, because you can have it do both. You can have like log to a local log file and then also send to a centralized log server. You can just tell tracing where to send logs. Okay, yeah, so that's part of that. I mean, at some point in time, like everything can do, right? Everything can fail. Everything can like have problems. And that's like, you know, that's where like systems administration comes in, and it's like, okay, well, given no good feedback, what do you do? And there's that's when you pay the engineers, I guess, like not even necessarily engineers, like systems administration people, the big bucks to like figure that out. Then you have those frameworks that allow you to build tracebacks across microservices, and remember, microservices are sin, and DevOps hell is a real place. It is. And that's why eventually you get to a point where you just need to, like, at some point you can't have everything, right? Like it just sucks. You can't have like everything working properly, because like, okay, internet failed, or you know, what happens when it's not your server at all? You're hosting on AWS, and AWS has a weird problem with one of their server racks. Your code is running on that server rack, and just weird things start happening. And like network starts getting like network every fourth packet gets dropped or something like that. That can happen. And it sucks. And it's really hard to debug. Could imagine if you're running a lot in the cloud and storage is expensive, you can compress the logs and send them to an on-site machine in chunks. Hopefully the compression would be enough to pay less in bandwidth. So like the bandwidth is usually not too much of a problem for that. It's usually if you've self-rolled a logging server, you're actually okay for this. But you do pay for developer time, and you pay for like now debugging the log service. But if you use something like Papertrail, that sounds like one of the centralized logging services that I looked at, or like CloudWatch logs, or anything else for that matter. Most of them are saying like, okay, well, we will accept like X amount of money before you have to pay per like megabyte more. Plus, we only keep them for 2 weeks unless you pay a lot more. CloudWatch at least allows you to like tell them, hey, keep them forever. But once you go past their like free tier worth of storage space, it gets expensive really quickly. And so you can't like keep them forever. Like usually you're deleting the logs after 2 weeks. Or less sometimes. Okay, Tungstenite is the only WebSocket server you've found to be usable. That's the one that we used. And it's not an active project anymore, but it worked out well. Every memory allocation can fail. I wonder how to handle this errors in space industry, like spacecraft or satellites. They do, in the space industry, they have multiple redundancies for every system. So it's like, okay, you have not just like redundancies in code, but redundancies in hardware. So if you think that like if this memory can fail, then you need memory elsewhere on the system that then can also be used. And so like that's why so many satellites and so many like NASA spacecraft just are, as long as they don't like crash hard when they land, they generally tend to last forever until like dirt stops them, as opposed to, well, spatial radiation killed it. Like that doesn't seem to happen too often. You do HFT and you're going to do Rust, but so many issues with WebSocketing. I haven't, like, that's the thing, is like, WebSocketing is important. I haven't really played with it yet. There was Rocket. I don't know if Rocket ever implemented it, but they had a plan to implement a WebSocket, sort of like just, here you go, you have WebSockets now. And that would have been amazing, but I can't trust Rocket right now. It only has one maintainer, and that maintainer takes long breaks between working on anything and there's like nobody else on the repo that can work on it. So if that maintainer decides to just leave, everybody is out of luck. Oh no, Emil, what happened? You have oh yeah, that was that rapid reset unaffected. Yeah, that was the blog message for like Hyper not needing to do the update. Okay, I see. Sorry about that, ML. I don't have let's see, I think I could open that up. That looks okay. This was it. It was like basically Hyper doesn't need to be updated. I don't know if you all remember this. It wasn't too long ago. It was like what, April or something? Earlier this year, basically HTTP had this rapid reset attack if you're on HTTPS, I think. Or was it not even S? Was it just that? And that could cause problems. But Hyper is not affected. Yeah, sorry about that, Bats. Let's see. Xanax, hello. How are you doing today? It'd be nice to have a streaming actor framework like Akka for Rust. I mean, we're still early days for like web stuff in Rust. If we look at the history of like Node.js, when Node became big, there was like, even after Express came and like had clearly won this is the framework to use, it didn't stop like 200 more backend frameworks from coming out and people like deciding to use those, until eventually moving away from Express and now on to like, you know, Feathers or something else, which I haven't played with, but I've heard really good things about, like some of these new tools that are people have been using. So we'll probably get there. If you're doing that large scale thing where log bandwidth is an issue, you're using binary logs and all your messages are integers. I mean, bandwidth can become an issue really quickly with any kind of system if you log everything. It's just kind of like funny how that happens. Like it's surprising where you get to like, okay, everything's fine. Oh shoot. We like every time that somebody clicks on something in a web app, like 200 things get logged. It's just lots of stuff. In the space industry, NASA has a guide how to write C that is shit-proof. The biggest thing is they don't malloc anything during runtime ever, which I remember seeing that and reading through a little bit of it, and it was like, oh, some of the things that I got the most was not even just like don't do malloc, although that's like a pretty big deal for that. Some of the other things was be careful about if statements. So like they have rules. So let's go over here. It's like if I were to do an if statement here, it's like if let's do like if let one equals one. If I wanted to check to see if one was equal to another one, I could do if one equals to two and do something like that. And one of the hard rules in NASA for part of that guide is actually, nope, you're not allowed to do this. It's always that. Always that. And that's because if you accidentally leave off one of the equal signs, this won't screw everything up. You literally cannot accidentally assign whatever this is to just like the hard-coded string number, whatever it is. So that's like a big thing there. Let's see. What do you think about Actix Web? Oh, is that to VATS? I haven't used Actix Web since before 1.0, but I've heard it's good. That would be my other, so like Actix Web and Axum are my two recommendations right now in the Rust backend frameworks. Rapid Restart was exploded in August to October. Cloudflare blocked out most of it for the services that uses it. Okay, that's good. Rust has been phenomenal for everything else though, and macros help you make it more accessible to people who can use them instead of Python for in-house stuff. Oh, that's really nice. I figured like macros can be really good for that. Like you can have people who are more familiar with that, like just basically hide away abstractions inside of macros. And now it's just like, okay, well, this is easy. Google is a company that technically logs everything. They also buy entire productions, runs the largest drives, and a production run is millions. Yes, I've heard about that. They also go through like disk drives every day. They have like thousands die or something like that. I don't know what the number is anymore, but like they run their disk drives hard. How is NASA rebooting the spacecraft system without allocations? I don't know about how they're doing that. I just, it's just in the rules. Well, GPT seems to be having trouble today. It's super slow, and he watched it about having 5 network errors in the past hour. If they're having trouble, nope, AWS is healthy. Usually if like some big, players are having like trouble, I would just like the first thing I look at is like, is AWS is okay? Because like most of the time they're served there, and it's probably here. Although sometimes they won't show the errors. It's still like thousands of hard drives a day, but they don't have higher than normal failure rates. They just have that many drives, which does make a lot of sense. Okay, I caught up to chat. Excellent. We can continue on. We are building. So there's probably some of you who came in while we were chatting and haven't seen what we're actually working on. I'm working on a lesson for multiple routers and bringing them in with merge and nest, and doing it in a way that to me makes sense. So this is what I've got. We have, I need to pull okay. I'm partway into using these. So we have quotes IDs. This is get one quotes, that there was get, then it's update. Then delete. So that's all of those. Then we have Miscellaneous is next. Okay, so for miscellaneous, I want so like okay, so custom path. So this would be, we'll just do gets for all these. So on miscellaneous. To miscellaneous, so completely different path. Also unrelated path. Okay. Why are you upset? One miscellaneous. Expected value found module. Oh, because it's miscellaneous one. Oh, I did this wrong. It should be miscellaneous one. Miscellaneous 2. Miscellaneous 3. Okay, there we go. Why are you upset? Why are you not used? Shouldn't you be used here? Oh, how do I have, okay. Miscellaneous, so 3 miscellaneous. Hold on. I'm so confused. Oh, wait. I put in semicolons. That's not ever a good thing here. Okay. That's why things stopped working properly. There we go. Okay. I hate it when it does self like that. I don't want to use self. I want it to look terrible like this. So use to miscellaneous. Things to oh, it's reordering like that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It just continuing to look terrible is a feature of this, because the lesson is going to be to refactor it to be less terrible. What I do in Axum is .nest endpoint router args, and I like how it works out. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing, is switching these to nest and doing all that fun stuff. And when here using Hyperland, no, I haven't even heard of that. Is that a crate for Rust? Is that like a web server or something that uses Hyper? All right, I think we're about ready for this. So just heard about it and tried it and recommend. Ooh, okay. Oh, it's a window manager like GNOME. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, I don't my Linux systems aren't really working properly right now. So oh, it's making your CPU idle like 3%. That's not great. Wait, I might be getting backwards. It's either not great or it's really good. Do you happen to have Rust Analyzer imports prefix set? I have, I think, the basics. Oh, when you're working on everything. Okay, okay. I got it now. What do I have? What's that? Hold on. Runtime. When did I add that in? I don't remember what that is. Oh, is this a new thing? Is this part of like the new Helix stuff? That's pretty cool if it is. But okay, so for languages, this is all I've got. So in Rust, I'm not setting it. I think it's just like whatever the standard is for it. I think it's not anymore. I think it got changed. Or maybe the whatever Helix is doing for it. Oh, it has a default. Might has its own default. So maybe Helix is setting that as a different thing. That would make more sense. I'm sorry, Vats. I'm sorry, Vats. For the courses I've been doing VS Code because it's like familiar to like 99% of people. Maybe one day I'll be able to like do this. Now by doing oh, you're talking about like how it doesn't work well for Electron stuff. Okay, not that you hate it and can't stand it, because I know that there's some of you just like are Electron, get that out of here. Which like I get it. I'm with you. I don't know why let's just commit this. We are ready to record. Okay, so we're set there. Let's also, sure, I'll read. I don't know. Okay. I don't really open this up very often. I only open up when I record. So it's a thing. Also, we recently discovered that I can do this. What's my profile? How do I know what profile I'm on? Switch profile. Introduction to Axum. I've got nothing installed. Cool. All right, so we need Rust Analyzer. I wonder if that's all we need here. So, use whatever work. Can you use Tori? I'm curious. Like if you just like create a very basic Tori application, does that work with your oh, what is it called again? I keep on thinking Hyper, but it's Hyperland. Because like Tori is also like similar technology because it's browser stuff, but it uses more native browser things instead of just always Chromium. It's like maybe that would work a little bit better. And if it does, that's even more reasons to switch over and use to create apps in Tori. Okay, so we got you set up. You all work. I want to cargo watch. And then, okay, so we have this is the best router that anyone has ever seen. You can't tell me otherwise. This is perfect. You can just imagine that if we just keep on adding more features, is this file just going to get hundreds of lines long? Okay, so we got all this stuff. This is happy. The plan is we're going to go over nest, we're going to go over merge, and we're basically going to just redo these, and that's pretty much it. And that's it. I would expect, okay, so it's 8:22. I usually end the stream around 8:30. I think that this might be like a 15-minute video, but I want to try it. So let's see how we do this. So for those of you who have not seen me do videos for this before, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my timer, even though, sorry, it will break. As far as I can tell, this breaks Restream bot, kind of, sort of, maybe. But the idea here is that I'll be recording a video for the course. I kind of sort of pretend that we're not on Twitch, which, by the way, my Twitch alerts have been off this entire time since the last time I recorded, so it's been days. That's not usually what I want, but okay, I guess I don't have to do anything. Those are fine. But I do turn off Zilby, so sorry about that, everybody. I'm basically just going to record with this. If any of you have any questions, thoughts, feelings, about like what I'm working on or just anything else, if it's sort of like within the context, I'll try to work it in. Otherwise, I'll respond afterwards. Okay, so with that, here we go. Hello, and welcome to this lesson on multiple routers. So here we have an application that has, several different routes that's created in our create router function. And we're going to say that this is a quotes application. So it's the entire point is to just take in quotes, maybe quotes that are interesting that we want to look at later. It's a fairly simple CRUD app right now. But even as a fairly simple CRUD app right now, our router is starting to get a little bit busy. And if we look at our use and mod statements, that's getting a little bit messy too. If we take a look at our file structure here, we just have everything just sort of flat in routes, which is great when we first started out, but we can already see that things are getting a little bit messy, as it were. I also have these miscellaneous functions here. So these are not necessarily anything for quotes themselves. These are for like something that just does their own things. Maybe we just have the server already paid for. We want some kind of like Lambda type functionality, but we're already paying for this, so we might as well throw them in here. So because of that, they're just sort of like polluting this space and making everything harder to see. So how do we fix this? Well, we can actually create multiple routers and then pull them into this main router all together at the very end here. And so we have two choices. We have something called nesting and we have something called merging. And for the most part, they do kind of the same thing. Like we have the same restriction of the state must be the same across all of our routes, even if they're merged or nested. It has to be the same state. We're not using that right now, but it's something good to know about. The layer here is going to be applied to all routes, regardless if they're nested or merged above it. So this trace layer, we don't have to like reproduce that for every single one. It's mostly about sort of abstracting away or maybe obfuscating, at the very least, organizing things around. So let's start with quotes here. So if I want to move these all out, what I probably want to do is create a quotes file, quotes folder. And inside the quotes folder, we're going to create a mod.rs. And I'm just going to take all of these quotes. So what we have: create, delete, get all, get one, and then update. Take all of you, or I'm going to throw you into the quotes directory. Go ahead and move them in there. And that's fine. There's a cargo toml right there. No? Okay. All right. So in mod, well, first of all, in these mods, we have a lot of broken stuff now. Let's go ahead and first we're just gonna delete all of these. I'm going to also, let's comment these out so that, because they don't, at least so that they don't give us errors right now. And we're going to get rid of these mods at the moment. We're going to do multiple sort of like passes on getting this into like a refactored state that makes sense for us. Okay, so inside this quotes mod, what I really want to do is re-export all of these functions for us. So we're going to do a mod create quote, mod get all, mod and then also, you know what that I'm noticing here, we don't actually have to have the prefix, oh sorry, the suffix for each quote on this. So let's actually change that before we actually write all these stuff. I'm going to rename each of these and remove the underscore quote, because that just sort of feels redundant when we're inside this folder. Let's rename. So we could just have create, delete, get all, get one, and update. Okay, that's going to feel a little bit better. So now we can update you. So it's going to be create, get all, get one, mod, let's see, what's the next? So we have create, get all, get one, update, delete. I think that's it. And then because I haven't changed the name of the functions inside them, we can re-export those, and then basically the parent router will still be fine with that. So we're going to have a pub mod, what was that? Pub use, create. You're not helping me. I want this create quote in here. Oh, okay. This file does not belong to a loaded cargo project. Oh, that's what it is. I need to mod in this from here. That's why I can't find it. Okay, so we would need a mod quotes here. There it is. Now you're going to be able to find this. So when we're not getting any help with this, we need to mod the file that we're in from the parent in order to see it. That's what goes on with that. All right, so pub use. Let's see. We have get all quotes. Pub use, get one quote, pub use. Let's see, we have update quotes, and finally delete quote. Okay, there we go. We're happy here. Now, if I come back to this mod in routes, we have mod quotes. I can pull those in with a single use statement now. So we can do, and actually I could just uncomment these and just one at a time say, okay, pull this in, import you, import you, import you, and so on. And now everything works sort of the way we expect it to. It's able to pull these in. It looks a little bit better. if I pull all these uses together, we're using a little bit less space, but the router itself doesn't look any better here. We just really just took away some of the mods. So we're not finished yet. Let's actually create a new router inside of here. So I'm going to do a pub function create quotes router, or routes, router. This is going to return a router, and it's going to be very similar to the router that we have in the main other file. So we're going to do a router new. Then I'm going to come back up to here, and we're going to take all of these quote routes that we care about. I'm going to cut them out, and we're going to put them here. All right, so it doesn't know anything about these like post or gets, but we can fix that pretty easily. We can just re-import those. Support get from Axum running get. Actually, let's see. Get one is a get, update. Oh, you should be a put. And you should be a delete. Sometimes delete, it can't find that, but we can fix that. We'll grab you from here. Okay, so then with this create quotes router, I want to pull this in and use it here. And this is where we have to make the decision of nest or merge. So if I do merge, it just takes in a router. That's it. So I can do a create quotes router here, and that's fine. That works. This actually works exactly as written, and this is gonna be fine, but I don't really like it, because if we come here, you notice how I'm like repeating this quotes over and over and over again? That's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like unnecessary sort of repeating. If I add more routes in here, I have to remember to put the slash quotes in every single time. Otherwise, it's going to be an inconsistent API. So instead, what I want to do is I'm going to use nest. And this is the big difference between nest and merge. If I do nest, the first thing that it takes in here is a path. And so this path is going to be slash quotes. Now, if I don't do anything else, in order to hit this API, it's now going to be slash quotes. Not really what I want here, but we can take our quotes and then just delete. For you, we have to delete those there. Okay. So now everything looks like a lot better. In our main route file, we don't even need this. We don't need this at all. We just need the create quotes router. Let's see. Oh, you're not auto removing that brackets. We can just do that. We don't need this post at all. Okay, things are looking a little bit better. A little bit cleaner. A lot better already with the router. Over here, we also have like these routes that use this ID in here like that. I want to make sure that I don't accidentally use something that's not an ID. I want that to be just like the standard for this. So I'm going to use another nest, but this is going to be sort of an inline nest. I'm not going to create like another folder or another file to sort of create the routers. We're going to do an inline router right here. So I'm going to do a dot nest. We're just going to put in a ID there. And then I want a router new, like that. And okay, so we have the nest comes out here. I wanted you to be there. It's not exactly the indentation I was expecting Rust Analyzer to give me. I want nest, so we have, let's fix this manually. So we have router new, this route comes onto here. That route comes onto here. this route comes onto here, so that way we can see that these are all part of those. Oh, I'm missing a dot delete on there. That's what's going on with it. And then I close you off here. Are you happy? No, you're not happy. What did I do? Expected 2 arguments. Let's see, we have router new, and then we have dot routes on here, dot delete. That matches that. Oh, route path. Oh, you're right. I indented that prematurely. There we go. Okay, that's what we want to see. This is now what our quote sort of entire section can look like. We have them all sorted into the same directory here, and we have 2 different nested routers that are used to sort of like store the route handlers, or at least the calls to the route handlers, and then everything else inside of these files are going to remain exactly the same. Okay, so this is all good. Let's head back and let's see if we can fix these up now. So we have these miscellaneous sort of functions, these route handlers that we don't really know what to do with. And as you notice, they all have custom paths that don't have anything to do with each other. So in this case, we're going to use merge. So I'm going to create in routes another folder. We're just going to call this miscellaneous. I'm also going to create a mod.rs in here. We're going to copy the 3 miscellaneous routes into there as well. We are not going to forget to update this mod. So to miscellaneous. We're not going to need this anymore. And we don't, I'll keep you only so that I can copy and paste you later. All right, so in miscellaneous, we're going to have a mod. Again, I can probably just remove the miscellaneous at the end of the name here. So 1.rs, I want 3.rs, and then you will become 2.rs. Named such only because we don't really care about what's in these functions and that they're all just miscellaneous. So I'm just naming them because we don't really know what they do and it doesn't really matter as part of this exercise. All right, so let's bring in 2, mod 3. Okay, that's great. I want to bring in the functions for this next. So we're going to use 1, miscellaneous 1. Miscellaneous 3. We're going to create that new router function here. We return a router. And we're going to come back to this route. We're going to copy all of these. We're actually just going to cut that out. And in the miscellaneous mod, paste them in here. Okay. All right, so we have router new. This should be fine. Okay, so we need to pull in the gets from Axum routing. We need to make sure that this gets called. So back to our routes. And this time we use merge. So merge, just the other router for this. So I want the create miscellaneous router, and that's it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to go and update any of the routes inside of miscellaneous because there's no sort of, we're not setting a prefix for the path here. It's just whatever is set there is what we get. So we can mix and match nest and routes to like however our app needs. This is the structure that I like to do. it basically allows me to separate the route handlers sort of like into their own files nicely. I don't have to like give postfixes to any of their editor names. I can just search for the folder and then something inside of it. And then also, if I need to create any middleware for like layers, notice that this layer will affect all of the routes inside of these here. If I want a middleware only to affect, let's say, the quotes route, I could right here do a layer, and then that only affects them. And that's true of merge as well. And that's it. That's all we need to do to be able to clean up our routers and get basically just merge them in, combine multiple routers together, and clean up everything. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye. Not my best one. Also, thank you, ML. I was like, why isn't that working? Why is Rust Analyzer yelling at me? I think I'm not used to yelling at me down here like that, so I just like blinked out and forgot what was going on. But thank you for that. Okay, so let's clean this up. So these videos are going into YouTube, but they're going unlisted into YouTube, and then they're going to be in the video. Sorry, in a video? That doesn't make any sense. What am I saying? They're going to go into the paid course. So I'm going to, in here, I'm going to put a link to it in here once we upload it. Yeah, yeah. So it's a paid for course. I sort of like joke about this whenever I talk about it, but it's like in the last part we said merge also separates layers. I don't think that's true. Oh, we should check that. I don't have that. I don't have a way to check that right now, do I? Wait, I do have a way to check that right now. We just do this. I just throw you in there. And now if the quotes get that, we know that I was wrong and I need to re-record that. Actually, we already have, let's just do insomnia. This will be fine. So we want miscellaneous 1. 404. Oh, because it's probably, is it different? Oh, because it's not miscellaneous 1. For this video I changed them around. What did I call this? Like custom path. Okay, so here is, I see request for custom path. So now I want to hit that with quotes. So if I do quotes like that, oh, look at that. We did not see it. Well, let's try this again, and we'll be looking at this. So quotes, we get some stuff, but not the actual, not the tower HTTP stuff. So I think it works. I know, right? It is pretty cool. So basically what you could do is, if you have a middleware for authentication, you could say here at this level, all of these dot layer protect, something like that. And now if you have like another group above it, like those are perfectly open and it's nice. And so that's one of the arguments for using something like nest and merge, is like that just lets you do that now. I guess that means merge doesn't work like it expected, but also works in a way that makes sense. I've noticed that that's like par for the course for like almost everything. That's par for the course for almost everything Axum. I feel like it's like very close to the way we're familiar with other backend frameworks, but it just also makes a lot of sense once you think about it. Now, I bet that if so like notice how I'm putting it on the create miscellaneous router here instead of outside of this merge. Like if I put it here outside of the .nest, then anything above it would also be affected by the layer. So I'm really doing it to, it's as if I did the layer right here. I want to delete that one. I want to undo there. So merge and nest are exactly the same, except no path changes. From the documentation that I was able to read, yes. I couldn't see any, like they had the same requirements, like the same caveats, and there's no other documentation about like how they're different. I didn't go and like read through the entire source code to find out. Is that not how you read the docs? Maybe I read it differently. I could be wrong. And in which case I need to re-record that and rewrite that. So if we look at merge and nest are right next to each other. So like here's nest. And then merge is down here. So basically, like it has the same caveats for merging routers with state. Like they have to be exactly the same, both of them. I think also this, but then it panics in two different ways also with nest, and that's fine too. The panic section, yeah, I don't like this panic section. Why doesn't the layer get applied? For merge. Oh, the layer does get applied, I think. That's layer. Hold on. So the layers get applied inside of the merge, and the layers get applied outside of it too. I believe it is. So like here, if I do layer here at this point, this should apply it, and we should see the hit. So if I go back to, oh, can I not go back? I'm not like saving these. I should probably do it. So here we get, we see, you got saved, right? Oh yeah, okay. So here, get quotes, URI quotes. So there's that. Then if I do custom path again and send, here we get that too. So this layer is affecting and going inside of merge and nest. So it's affecting all of them in there. It's only when I put this inside like nest or merge that it only affects one and not the other. So like then I can put it in here and nest won't get it and the merge will. But the layer on the merged router doesn't apply that layer on the original router. You mean like if I do it out here? So now if I hit you again, we get you. And then if we go back to quotes, I don't get that. Yeah, or on the create blah blah, same thing. Yeah, so it's the funny way that Axum, no, it's not Axum, that Tower does middleware for this, which is that this layer, wherever you attach it, is only active for things above it on the same level. Or like, I don't know, it's really hard to say. Like I haven't done the middleware lesson yet. It's not what you expected to do from the documentation. Oh, okay. It's one of the, I have noticed like I was really hoping that I would have like more lessons. I would be able to say, okay, let's go to the docs. These docs are amazing. Go read them and then come back. And there's only been like a handful of lessons where like I don't think that I can add any value by like rewriting essentially their documentation. For almost everything, I'm rewriting everything because it just doesn't make sense to like somebody who's new to it. If that makes sense or not. The problem is I don't really know, like I'm able to write, like what I'm good at is rewriting in a tutorial format. This is not a tutorial and they don't have a book yet. If they had a book and it was like having problems, I think I would be better to update that. Here, I don't know, maybe. I'll write it down. Like, updates, like I guess a PR for merge and nest to clear up how layers work with them. So I'll note it down. Oh, you're going to make a PR to improve the docs. Okay, never mind. I thought you were asking me to do. Never mind. I'm going to not do that. And then you should get credit for that. Because your reading of merge is flat map, layers, and paths. Oh, okay. It's so strange, isn't it? How it's so easy to like not make easy to read docs. And then it's like, okay, how does it work? I don't know. Let's go find it out. All right, I can turn off that timer now. And back to Twitch. Okay, so nobody chatted from YouTube. All right, so let's see what we got here. Looking at Twitch. Oh, wow, they've now put like a giant advertisement at the top of my following list in the app. That doesn't seem great. Mixie is streaming Rust, doing some game dev. Tower is a marvelous invention, though. It is like there's a lot of really cool web tools, especially a lot of like behind the scenes. Like nobody in their right mind would just create their own full like web API in Tower itself, but everything is using Tower, it feels like, behind the scenes because it's just that good. All right, so what's his name? It's Mixie is programming, making an auto battler game with Rust and Bevy. And it's working. I think last time that we raided him, we couldn't actually see the game running, and it's literally running right now. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a raid. Everybody, I won't be able to hang out with you because I have my stand-up in less than 5 minutes with my day job. So I'm going to have to go off and do that. I will be back later today. Let me show you my ending screen. At around 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time to... I don't think I need to re-record, so we'll be basically sort of figuring out what the next thing we're working on course-wise, and then move to that. So with that, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and see you next time. Bye.